Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast, the recap of stage 11 of the Tour de France. We're officially over halfway through the race. We have a sprint stage from Vichy to Nevers, 161 Ks. I will never probably go here. Where are we? Somewhere in the middle of France.
Wait.
And we have two Category 4 climbs, the Côte de Billionaire. Maybe this is where the billionaires hang out, in the Massif Central. Rolling flat terrain, big roads. We have the Côte de Billy Chavannes. That's another Cat 4. And then it's like a flat sprint run in big roads, like barely any turns. Big boy sprint. And 5K to go rule. But let me do the points jersey classification before the stage. We have Mads Pedersen on 293. That is 54 points ahead of Binny. He is... I'm not going to count Merlier because he refuses to go for it. So, sorry, Tim, you're out. He is 88 points ahead of Jasper Philipsen and 101 points ahead of Max Canter. That would have been 91 if Canter kept pedaling at the IS yesterday. So he's got a good lead. Binny's the main threat, but we have a 70-pointer today, including 25 points at the intermediate sprint. So 95 maximum points available. Yeah, what do you expect in break formation, Benji? I expected a just like 3-man break and nothing.
Yeah, I'd expect the same, especially because now there's at least one KOM point in the first half of the race, which does matter, I would reckon, but it's still not enough for a large breakaway to come by, even though we had a close clash with the breakaway in one of the previous sprint stages. And that could happen again if enough teams realize that it could be beneficial to have a rider in the breakaway. And I do want to point out that one of the riders in this breakaway that does form, I'll just go through the entire breakaway. Anton Charmik of UnoX, Oliveira for Movistar, Lebede for Total Energy, and Alaphilippe for Tudor. That's a 4-man breakaway. Liam Slock is also in a Chaspatat behind that. So he tried to join as well, but couldn't manage to do so. He flew back to the peloton, but those 5 riders do take points away at the intermediate sprint. So that will come in handy in a second, but I do want to highlight the riders. Go ahead,
sir. Trek, why don't you control to the IS? Because it's not uphill, I guess, the sprint?
You could argue that the more points go to the breakaway, the lower the delta between the spots are for Pedersen if he loses.
So why control yesterday? Because it's the uphill sprint.
I guess. And those are the kind of stages where you'd hope Miss Pedersen would make a little bit of a difference, even though it's not perfect either, to be honest. Like,
I'm just saying it's not actually a big difference. It was uphill enough.
Well, yeah. I think there's a difference with yesterday, because yesterday it was uphill to the point that Benjamin and Philipsen were cooked by the time the sprint started. While today I look at it and I'm like, they should be on even grounds to begin with.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
The one thing I want to add about this breakaway is I want to once again credit UnoX for being a part of this breakaway and having a sprinter in the peloton. They did it multiple times before. They did it with Abrahamsen with 3 attacks, I think, in the stage where White and Skold got second in a sprint. Yeah. Might have gotten second twice, actually, but not completely certain. So that's one of the things we always advocate for, and there's more teams that should do this, because sending someone in the breakaway, it might not give you a chance to win from the breakaway, maybe a 0.2% chance, who knows, but that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it to make it harder for the peloton to catch your breakaway, in doing so spending domestiques. And I think that did happen on the side of Soudal Quickstep today with the likes of Inkhorn being burned through. But Melier's lead out in this race, Patrick, it's always just Stuyven. That man, and Stuyven, he can do a great job leading out, but he's also not going to be the 4-man lead out of Alpecin, you know? I do not expect Melier to start a sprint in any good position at any point in this Tour de France.
Well, because Bert had to abandon, so it would have been Bert, Van Leeuwenberger, and Sturm. But I said in the preview, I already said they were 1 man short. Like, they were over-capitalized on sort of rouleurs, not special, like not a Dries van Gestel. A Dries van Gestel today maybe brings Merlier up to where Sturven was. But I was surprised to see Van der Poel jumping in the breakaway. I don't know what Alpecin sort of were planning on doing. I always think the breakaway was very, very silly today. And I always think it's so silly when a breakaway, so that it goes, Slock jumps, peloton full blocks. The break is gone. The break is going. The sports directors for the sprint teams are going to say at a certain time to start pulling. They're not going to, when the gap gets to 130, they will say start pulling. there is no benefit in going from 30 seconds to 130 as quickly as possible if you're the breakaway. It's at 130, they are going to start pulling, and it was blocked. Why do you keep Liam Slock behind? I don't mean straight away, but there was a point where it was very obvious the break was gone. You can make the break 25% bigger with a really good rouleur. It's self-defeating to keep him behind, and it benefits you in no way to keep him behind by riding. Like, you're not making the break more likely to be formed. It was formed. So I never understand that.
Yep, I think that's fair. Now, like we said already, intermediate sprint was coming up then, and at that intermediate sprint, the points for the first 5 spots were getting caught by those breakaway riders and Mr. Slock, who was kind of sitting like a duck in between. Now, Pedersen could not beat Phillips in encounter at this intermediate sprint because his sprint train started falling apart. Simmons was at the front, suddenly with a gap on Pedersen. Vodsik fell from in between and couldn't manage to do a lead out there, so Pedersen had to close Simmons himself to try and then sprint from the wheel. It was a bit of a mini disaster for Pedersen, but most importantly, he does beat Biniam, which is his closest competitor for this green jersey at the moment. So gains 1 point on him, only loses 2 points to Philipsen, so it's not that big of a deal. And to be honest, Patrick, from this point until 8 kilometers to go, I've got nothing written down when it comes to notes. I went for a bit of a run. I realized to myself, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a sprint. Mid-lunch nap, you know?
Exactly. I did the same thing. Caught up on some work. And yeah, the break was just getting chased by NSN for Binny. Also, Quickstep with their rouleurs for Tim Merlier. It's a 5K to go rule. After 5Ks, it gets very narrow. And so you could pretty much block the road. That was what all the teams were trying to do. Very, very strange sprint in the end. But if you want to discuss all the heat of the action and support the podcast in one, you can become an LRCP Ko-fi member. You can go through the link down below. It lets you join our Discord, and we're in there talking about Tour de France, but not just that. Race news, transfers, speculation. What rules would you change? Me and Benji are in there. You can even talk
fighting.
You can even talk, fighting. You can even talk movies if you want. Whatever you want to talk about, me and Benji are in there every day with this community. So go and check out that Discord, and you can support the show directly for less than a cup of coffee, at least in Sydney, London, and Paris. That's the plug today. No free ads, but I guess that's
a free ad.
That's a free ad. Yeah. So I broke our own rules.
Anyway, 8 kilometers to go. I'm sorry, but I'm jumping towards that. Break is about to get caught. This breakaway is done for. We see Gaviria having a mechanical just before the break is caught. And with 6 kilometers to go, that break is caught, and it's like silence falls upon the peloton. And it's funny because Luke just texted in the recording setup here that this was the fastest Tour de France stage ever. Which you wouldn't say that if you looked at kilometer 6 until kilometer 2. They were chilling.
They were. Red Bull broke the GC Right team pact, by the way, today. Did you see that?
Tell me.
Red Bull
were they at the front?
Yeah. Until and they were at the front but not till 5Ks to go, and then at 6Ks to go they got swarmed, and then they were in the mix during the hectic corner.
For context, what pact are we talking about for the people that aren't following as in-depthly as us?
Pogacar says there's like a unspoken agreement between the GC teams to just sit at the back during these sprint stages. I think this behavioral change is significantly affecting the sprint stages, because the sprint trains used to get to 5Ks, and before the 5K rule, they used to get to 3Ks to go on the back of a GC team lead out. So you basically have 3 minutes to go, 3Ks to go, sorry, a 60 kph is literally 3 minutes. So they would be sitting behind a Filippo Ganna, a Josh Tarling, a Kwiatkowski, a Tim Wellens, and Eduardo Affini. They're sitting behind them at speed until 3 minutes to go, and then they could do their lead outs. Now, there's no GC teams at all in the last 20Ks fighting for position at all. And they're just sitting at the back chilling.
And I feel like it's increasing the chances of breakaways making to the finish line as a consequence too, because there's less domestiques pulling at the front in the last 10 kilometers for safety purposes versus sprinters teams organizing themselves just as a whole, to be honest. But it was really noticeable just how little tempo there was in the peloton. It was completely like half blocked up, is how I'd classify it, with NSN on one side of the road, the right, if you look on your TV, on the left side, Decathlon, then X in the middle with Pedersen sitting just behind that, Merlier just behind that, and the wheel of Jasper Stuyven. Alpecin was on the left side behind Decathlon, ready with their whole lead out. Everybody was waiting, and is this because of the layout of the last 6 kilometers? It's so straightforward.
Yeah, they turn and then they go like from 5Ks to go. I'm looking now, 7 riders wide, 6 riders wide, and it gets completely blocked. Like Gaviria had given up because he had a mechanical and he came back easily. And you see Tish Benoit, like 3Ks to go, it's the same riders. Benoit, Abrahamsen, and Van Arsbrook for NSN, and it's 4 teams across. They full block the road. And like the Alpecin trains bubbled up in a good position. They have 5 riders, including Philipsen. So they have the most. Astana couldn't get together. They were left and they were right. Pedersen was freelancing. Merlier he already had lost Sturgeon at this point. Varensholt. And it was, you look at who wins this stage, it's actually the 3Ks to go. Or who finishes in the top 5. It's NSN, Decathlon, X, Alpecin, and even Hubarts, I think, is in the front positions there. So basically, front position early. Even Bling, I think Bling is up there, and he jumped. He was in the mix. So,
I don't think it's as straightforward because the positions do change from that point to the finish. Because the person who wins the race is in like P15 in the last kilometer.
No, but at 2.7 Ks to go, he is in front. He's second row, and then there was something at 2Ks to go. They saw the banner, and then Decathlon with Benoit just full send it. So they go from literally parked to 2Ks to go. Everyone's sprinting for this left-hander. Then the lead out start, and indeed, what Benji mentioned, Varensholt is not good at maintaining position. I think Varensholt. I haven't seen his data, never saw it, but I bet you Varensholt's data is fucking crazy. Like, I bet you anything. It's like 0.1% of, it's 1% of the sprints. I bet you his 5-second peak power when he's off season is crazy stuff.
I believe you.
He's not that good at maintaining position. That's why he doesn't have the consistent results of a Johnny Milan. But when it's stretched at 1,800 meters, it's NSN. For Decathlon, it's perfect. They've got Dan Holer, Case Bowl, Alpecin again. Benji, I think the old school lead out doesn't work.
Ooh.
They're trying to move up a train of 5 guys on this narrow thing with 1 mile to go when everyone's fresh, and the train just gets split to pieces.
Yeah, it's been really, to be honest, I'm not sure I 100% agree, because we've seen the Alpecin lead out do okay so far in this race. It's just that there were imperfections in the distance at which Philipsen was dropped off, the distance that Van der Poel had to start sprinting, Van der Poel dropping off Philipsen in the middle of the road, these details, but also on the other side, Philipsen was also sprinting backwards. Today was the first sprint of Philipsen that I was actually impressed about, Yeah. He looked relatively okay in today's sprint. So I think if you put Olaf Koor on that lead out of Van der Poel, he probably has a stage win from that lead out in the last couple of days even. I'm telling you, it's not a perfect lead out, but it's still enough for a top sprinter. Oh, this is the first time, Patrick. The first time I've hinted at that label of top sprinter for Kooi. I'm not sure he deserves it yet.
Today and let it go.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I see what you mean. At 1,400 meters to go, Varensholt is P20 on the wheel of Tim Merlier.
Yeah.
He is P20. All the lead outs get jumbled up, but there is Kooi. Kooi is P8 with Boll in front of him. He is in perfect position. It's in a line. And then I don't know who was the last X guy. He stretches it. I was thinking, this is stupid. Stop. Varensholt, normally he's killing Varensholt, who can't move up because he's stretching it. Yeah. Alpecin then, I'm watching MVDP. MVDP is moving Philipsen up. There's Fratin sliding himself. I don't know where Hubarts has gained the ability to seamlessly move through Tour de France sprints. MVDP starts to move left. And then I was thinking, Boll has to, keep his shoulder free. Merlier tries to come up behind on he never really gets to Sturven.
Nah.
Pedersen gets boxed badly. And at 600 meters to go, Varensholt is boxed right by the two Cofidis. He's got no space. And then, Coy, yeah. So at 600 meters to go, Coy does the same thing. He lets Bowles' wheel go because he wants to slot onto Sturven's wheel, but Sturven's cooked. And
Who did that?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
In the wheel of Merku 1 or 2 years ago, where we were like, oh, that's a mistake. I don't remember which sprinter it was. Maybe 3 years ago. It's a long time ago. Either way, I think if Coy follows Bol there, he wins the race.
I 100% agree. 100%. He had to do that extra effort. Maybe Bol started too hard, but he doesn't. Bol starts seated. Bol starts seated. He could have followed, but Sturven takes the wheel, then drops it, and then Coy's on a gap and he doesn't close it. Then there's literally 350 meters to go, 400 meters to go. There's a stalemate. Like every sprinter is staring at each other. Bol's launched, but the inside opens.
At that same exact moment, Patrick, at that exact moment, if you look at the left of the screen in the background, Weidenskjold is by the barrier looking for a gap. And when that gap opens, zero hesitation. Sprints through, gets to the wheel of Kees Bol, and what's happening behind him at that point?
Bling goes across. Matthew Philipsen had been like fighting, I think, a picnic train and lost speed and balance. And then Philipsen gets Coy back up to speed, gets into the wheel of Varensholt, trying to slingshot out of them. But the thing is, like, Varensholt, this is perfect for him. If there's someone who wants to be brave and actually chase Bol, it was him because he has the power, like I said. You know, he's got crazy power. He just gets boxed in, so he can hold it for 20 seconds, and he does. He holds it to the line. Coy comes out of the wheel of Philipsen to come second. Philipsen, I think this was his strongest sprint today. He finishes third, but he could have won if it went a bit differently. Fortin fourth, Hubart's fifth. Hubart's another top seven. Binny sixth, Turgis seventh. Again, Turgis, like, not a sprinter. Just him and Turgis and Russo and Hubart, so what they do in Tour de France sprints, or what they've been doing is crazy. Like, it's crazy that, Anthony Turgis, literally not a sprinter. I think he basically never wins the race. He won a Tour de France stage in 24. Apart from that, he last win was in 2019. But he top 10s Tour de France sprints every year. Russo 8th, Gaviria 9th after the mech, Ackermann 10th, Pedersen 11th, Merlier 15th, he was out of it. So big win for Varensholt. It is funny as well because they went in the breakaway and they still won the stage. Pedersen's green jersey lead is cut. He's on 317 points. Binny is now 45 points behind, so he narrows it. Philipsen also takes a big gain. He's on 255. He's now 62 points behind.
Patricio, very quickly, I want you to look at the sprint again and focus on Philipsen. Do you see anything shady? Because he's not in the results and he's in P109 in the results page.
Ooh.
Apparently. Not on PCS yet, but that's what Twitter is shouting.
He should have been relegated for what he did the other day.
Yeah, but we should judge him on today, not on what he did the last couple of days. I'm not completely sure it's happened, but some people are saying it.
I'm watching Philipsen. You mean for this? So I'm watching the overhead. So he's there. Picnic tried to move up left. Varnapool pulls off. Philipsen's fighting Binny for the wheel of Coy. That's all legitimate. That looks fine to me. Leans on Binny again. And then, he nearly crashes the Picnic guys because I think Binny gave him the big don't argue. I have to see the
He's
overhead.
109th. He's been relegated. La Flamme Rouge confirms it. Milan Fretin is now third on the stage.
That's his green jersey over. No?
I'm trying to calculate the points.
How many points did he take?
Finishing third is... Whoa.
Is it 20?
Yeah, that's... He's like 100 points behind Pedersen now, right?
Yeah.
Roughly?
What have we got?
He might even get a minus on his points as in bonus on top of the relegation, you know?
Oh, true. You sometimes do get penalized, right? In the points classification for irregular sprinting. I think it's over. I think green is between Binny and Pedersen now.
Okay. To be honest, I kind of looked at it
Yeah.
like that already going into this stage, but even more of a conversation about that in the future. And Peterson with a 45 points lead now on Mr. Binyam. Tomorrow's stage is once again a sprint stage, 180 kilometers, and it is mostly flat, but there are 2 hills in the last 50 kilometers. But Patrick, I'm not counting that. 3 kilometers, 4%. My grandma could do that, to be honest. And
Trek should go on the break, right?
wait, let me reopen a profile. So
Shouldn't they be going in the break?
intermediate sprint after 45 kilometers.
No, not with Pedersen.
Just you mean they should go in the break to, first of all, with 2 potential objectives. Firstly, you've got the intermediate sprint where points can be taken away, and therefore the delta between the riders can be smaller. But also, Pedersen is not a top sprinter, so the more riders that top sprinting teams have to waste with a breakaway up the road, the better for Pedersen's positioning. I agree.
I think Trek should start defending his lead now, and they should, probably today would have been the break wasn't going to win, but they should start defending his lead, and that's going in the breakaway.
I agree. Who's your take? Your pick?
Who's strong? Kasper Askren.
By the way, I've got an interesting thing to bring up. We both misguessed the prediction for today, but because I picked Pedersen before the race, I got 10 points because of the podium, but now he's relegated. Does that mean I lose the points?
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck. Philipsen's DQ was definitely undeserved, Patrick. Clearly. Come on, look at the pictures.
It is funny that he got relegated for this. Not closing Gaviria to the barriers, but
anyway, I'll allow it. But that's the risk of picking Philipsen, I would say. Yeah. I'm just gonna go for the top sprinter again, Merlier. I'm gonna keep locking that up. And that said, I'm getting more confident from today's sprint that Philipsen might get a stage win at some point. But the problem is that tomorrow and the last stage are the only chances left.
Tomorrow, 17, 21. They're the only chances left for sprinters.
For me, 17 is a Vanderpool for Alpecin, you know?
Probably. Okay, that was today's stage. We got another sprint tomorrow. I think maybe it's a little bit hillier, so maybe the breakaway has a chance. I think Trek maybe want the break to win, I would say, with 70 points on offer. I'm going Askren from the break. You went, who'd you go?
Merlier.
Okay. Thanks for listening as always. Go check out the Discord link through Ko-fi membership down below, and we'll see you with the recap tomorrow. Ciao.